Hey guys, it's Gorst. We're trying something different today. I've never done this kind of thing. Normally, I only do build guides on what I think was good or fun to play. Today, we're gonna do kind of a review from the League Metamorphs 3.9. And the reason why I want to do this is because I think there's a lot of people who are struggling, like I am, or rather was. To understand why their builds are not working properly. If you've been playing Path of Exile for as long as I have, you're probably wondering why your builds are shit, and nothing seems to be tanky enough. This is my big take from this league. It's that nothing you do is going to be tanky enough to do the entire content smoothly like we used to. I'm going to start to talk about the changes. Basically what we've have change in 3.9 was that the bosses have been buffed tremendously on their defense. Their resistance has been buffed for both elemental resistance and physical resistance. Chaos also got kicked up a notch, maybe not as much, but it has been kicked up a bit from, I think, 5%. They got more life. I think Shaper and his friend got something like 30%. And there's also a way to buff most map bosses by having your Awakener level higher. Mine isn't even level 8 and I'm still struggling a lot in doing the Metamorphs and Nasty maps. Now, these changes are not bad. In my opinion, they were most welcome. They were needed because a lot of the mechanics of the game or anything that was related to defensive mechanics could be bypassed by straight up just having a strategy kill them before they kill us. It was really easy for us to make a build that would one-shot everything, boss included, and once you get into like Guardians or Shaper, just swap a gem or two or a piece of gear and make yourself either more tanky or, you know, have enough regen to be able to do the content. And I understand this was not intended in the game. The developers, GG, wanted us to like do the mechanics from the bosses, even like while having a million or two Shaper DPS. And it's understandable. Like this change is most welcome. The new Atlas is great. The mechanics behind the Metamorphs is also fun. I don't understand how they thought early League that anybody would enjoy picking up organs in every map all day, every day, but we'll talk more about that later because that's one of the many mistakes GGG makes when they release a league. So this is the positive, you know, most of the changes are welcome, and I think they were like positive. Where I have a problem is when you do buff these kinds of when you make these kinds of change and make the bosses more defensive, you have to understand that you are kind of forcing a meta where you want to do as much damage as possible. And so that clear skills like Arc, Flicker Strike, you know, anything like clear related, Lightning Arrow, all those kinds of things are basically useless for bosses. They've always more or less been useless in the sense that you could always like swap out or bring something better to the table, like Val Double Strike for melee and stuff like this. You know, Shock Nova for casters. You know what I'm talking about. The problem is that right now there is a big ass boss every single map and it's called a Metamorph. Now, people are going to say, well, you can skip the Metamorphs, but I mean, what's the point of playing a league if every map you need to skip the content because they are either too tanky or they take you too much time to apply the swaps to your character so that you can be able to do them. So I think that's one of the big mistakes GGG make, is that you gotta understand that the build that like characters are right now played in a way that we want to do the maps, we want to do them fast, and we want to enjoy playing our skills like without having to swap to a meta skill for single target. That's my 2 cents. This is an argument that could be debatable. What can't be debatable right now, though, is the Metamorph's damage. So now I'm going to go into the negative of the League. And the big problem we have right now is that they do too much damage. It's not the first League where we had a League mechanics that is ramping up too hard with map mods. We had this problem with Red Beast in Bestiary League. We had this problem with Marquette bullshit in Conqueror's League. Legion League, sorry. And you know, it's always been a problem in some leagues that they were ramping up too hard with the map mods, but it was still doable. And especially once you get into up to a certain level and up to a certain amount of like exalted orbs invested into your build, you could do enough damage to melt the content, and so it wouldn't be as relevant. Right now, the problem we have is that Metamorphs hit way too fucking hard, and they are way too fucking hard to kill. Like, everything is... Those combos make it so that we are extremely limited in the kind of build we can do. Meaning, I have done this league about 10 or to 12 builds that I've been trying to get run up, and this is one of the reasons that I haven't released any build guide other than my Burning Arrow early this league, because I haven't got anything up to my usual standard this league. Nothing is as strong or as good as I wanted to be able to release it to you guys. That's my main issue. Like, I've been trying, and my biggest down, like the worst one, I've been trying. Look, I won't enumerate them all, but I think I've leveled every character but a Templar and a Zion. And I must have spent like 6 assault in respecking for every freaking build out there. I tried Shield Throw, Spectral Shield Throw. I tried Flicker Strike, Cyclone. I tried plating with the Impale mechanics, the Energy Shield. I tried a Bane build. I tried everything but a Summoner build. More on that later. And when I threw in the towel was when I was building my Bane character, and I was trying to make it so it has so much defense that it wouldn't die in any circumstances. And I was so disappointed. Look, this character had 12,000 energy shield in the end. I know you can ramp it up to 20. Like, I've seen people building Geoffrey's Baptism and, you know, ramp it up to 20,000 energy shield. But I still wanted to have some kind of clear speed and, you know, some damage. And in my opinion, if you're at 12,000 energy shield, nothing's going to one-shot you. Or so I thought. Turns out, 12,000 energy shield and some great defenses is not enough to prevent one-shots. Because normally the issue you have with a character is that it won't ramp up his life, regen or leech or whatever fast enough. And it will die. But in this particular case, I did a tremendous amount of testing, and this is what I've noticed is it's one-shots. Like, I had some character like this one I'm trying to play as a Slayer, where I still have some problems with the leech mechanics, where I'm getting dotted by ignites and poisons and chaos damage and degen and whatever. Because also the Metamorphs can do some, sometimes they do pool of whatever, Burning Ground or I don't know, something, and they will add up to the degen. So if you're, even if your life leech or health regen pool is really fucking high, it will not be as good as it should because you're getting so much degen. I did try with Flask without, for me, not being ignite, not being poison, but I can still get damage from chaos damage, and I could still get damage from whatever is on the ground, Burning Ground or whatever. And if you're playing a melee character, the big issue is you don't have the option to run around on Metamorph's fight, because first, you can't see shit. There's a bunch of black goo on the ground and everywhere around you. There's attack coming off from all the senses, and you're not ranged, so you can't really dodge anything that's coming. You're just up in the face of the Metamorph, and you just have to hope you're going to kill him before he kills you. That has been my main issue, and I'm digressing though. I wanted to talk about the Bane build. So I had like 12,000 energy shield, a bunch of resistance, capped, you know, armor, all that shit. And I still got one shot a bunch of times. Like, I would just come in, and it's not like I was not ramping my energy shield fast enough. It was just boom, I get hit by something and I die. Always Metamorphs. the Guardians fight and the Cyrus fight are hard, uh, but they're not undoable if you kind of follow the league mechanics. It's really the problem is the Metamorph because 12,000 energy shield is more than enough not being one shot, and I know normally when you're playing an ES build you're bound to have less resistance than a melee build because you can't fortify, but I did test it and I struggled to put fortify on my build, so I was having fortify, I was dodging shit, I had any kind of defensive maneuver you can think other than mind over matter. I had everything else: fortify, endurance charges. I had everything. I still get one shot, and I'm not the only one because by searching in the forums and in on YouTube, I could find people who had characters with higher life than me, and they would still get one shot. Sorry, I even found a guy that had a animated guardian with all the resistance possible, and he calculated that one hit him for like 45,000 damage or something like that, which is insane. Which is just, what the actual fuck were you thinking when you created Metamorphs who could do over 20,000 damage? It's like, dude, there's not enough. Because I had this argument with my friends on Discord and with people online. They were just saying, like, because with the testing, I managed to understand that they were one of the bigger ramp ups that they could proc with Metamorphs was the elemental damage. They would get some extra cold, extra fizz, extra whatever, and they would have, like, I don't know, extra like critical multiplier from 300%, all stacked up together by the map mods and the Metamorph mods, and it was smashed together, make a Metamorph that could hit you for 20,000. And I have like a bunch of people online say, well, you could just like ramp up your maximum elemental resistance, that might fix the problem. And I'm like, listen, maximum elemental resistance of everything you could get in a decent way would be somewhere around 80%. Let's say for sake of argument you manage to get everything at maximum 83%. That's like 7 or 8% less damage than what I should have get. You think I would still survive that one shot? No, I would still die. So at this point is like, there is no way for you to mitigate that damage unless you're playing a summoner. If you're playing a summoner, your minions are going to mostly get all the damage before you do. So yeah, a lot of people are playing summoner not only because it's strong, but because it's just the only way not to die to Metamorphs. And it's sad. I mean, if anybody at GGG's had taken the time to just go out there and test their builds, test their leagues by doing red maps, they would have known right away, like, this shit is too strong, we gotta tune it down a bit. Because, and they probably could see the numbers on their computers, a thing that we can't. And when you know that you're getting hit for 20,000 fucking damage, you're like, alright guys, I think we ramped them up a bit too hard. But they don't. I think they just throw stuff in, we gotta hurry, next thing needs to come out, and boom, they release this shit. So that's my main issue. So basically, guys, you're not the only one with problem struggling with Metamorphs. If we're playing melee this league, you have all my condolence. You all have my sympathies. You all have my sympathies because I've been trying to do melee builds this league and it's hell on earth. It's really, really hard. And I think the combo of having a lot of tankiness from the mobs and way too much damage from the Metamorphs is like way too hard. I tried CI, I tried everything. Like, there's just no way around it. That being said, I've been trying so freaking hard not to play a summoner build, but I will probably do. I will do a summoner build because yeah, I'm just not having fun anymore of trying to make a build that more or less works, that I know will die in some way at some point, and Metamorphs higher than tier 14. So I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm just gonna play a summoner build until they either fix it or, you know, until the next league. And it's sad because I want to end on this note. I think that content creators are not they're not clear enough with their audience, because one of the first thing when I had a problem building like I think on my third build, I started going on other content creators pages, which I won't name. I was watching YouTube's videos and like seeing shit that just wouldn't work. Like, they show a video of them clearing a tier 16 map without doing the metamorph and then killing Cyrus. Look, you're going to be able to kill Cyrus if you manage to do the mechanics perfectly. Some builds are harder than others, but you're going to be able to. But don't tell me that you're putting together a melee build of 6,000 damage and that you manage to find it, like, okay to play. Like, I've seen builds of content creators out there just doing that. It's like, come on, man. I have more stat than you have. I downloaded your path of building. I checked every defensive things you had on there, and I can tell you that one map out of two, you're getting one shot. Or you're skipping metamorphs altogether. But they don't tell you that. They go for the views, you know? And I think it's sad. Especially, like, I think a bunch of people are gonna lose their, like, they're gonna lose their players' trust, because most of you probably don't notice, but a lot of time they just slap a 3.9 seal of approval on videos that they released on 3.7, 3.5, or whatever, like old fucking League's video. They didn't test them. They're just like, this is the build, this is the kind of result you can get. And it's been recorded in 3.7. They just either repost it, upload it on YouTube, or straight up just slap it 3.9. So if you're not careful and you don't look closely, like, they haven't tested those builds. They don't know that now you can't play them in 3.9. They're not strong enough. And it's a real fucking, it's a dick trap. That's what it is. It's a goddamn dick trap. Because you go in there, you build your character, you invest 6-7 exalt in it, you're ready to go, and you hit like tier 15 maps and you're getting one shot all the time, and you're like, what the actual fuck is happening? People have been telling me like, oh man, just play Cyclone. Look, I know Cyclone has a great single target DPS. I'm not denying that. If you can ramp up your Impale, it's pretty darn strong. But in my opinion, Cyclone has a shit clear. I don't like how they nerfed it. I didn't like it before because I thought like you had to ramp up your movement speed way too much to make it like clear efficient. There was better option back then. But now it's even worse because they nerfed the AoE so hard that you gotta invest so much in AoE, and now you're full front melee, so you gotta invest a lot more in defense. And the only way you can kind of ramp up your Cyclone to make it like so you don't have to invest in everything is Impale. And yeah, it's kind of average in my opinion. Like, I know it can be strong, but I think clear is average, and I think that you kind of have to play with Impale to have a decent play style. Of course, you can go Cosprees. I think another option is Cospree. I didn't test it myself this league, but I think Cospree can do some good damage, and you know, allow you to invest into defense without cutting too much into your DPS, and it has a decent clears because Cospree. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the 3.9 League. I think the only thing I want to send a message to any employee of Grinding Gear Games, if they're ever listening to my videos, who knows. If you're looking at this, test your league beforehand. Like, we already have to manage with the bugs, the lags when the league releases, every little crap shooter you're doing. But take a minute and think if people are gonna like it. If you take a character in tier 15 and die all the time, even if he's tanky as balls, tweak it down a bit. Tweak it down so we can still, you know, enjoy and don't have to go full meta. And also, while I'm at it, like, if you're releasing a synthesized, like, people don't like to waste time in maps. You can do any content you want, a special map, a special something that takes your time, that you have to think, you have to, you know, make choices, but don't do it in a map. When we're mapping, we do not want to be stopping every minute to do something. So Synthesis League was shit in that sense. It was really, really shit. And, you know, a bunch of league where you gave us the option of, you know, add up to the content. It's cool, Just don't make it so that we have to stop mapping, look at it, think, take a decision. Make it outside of mapping. This is all we're asking. If you want to add some content into mapping, just make sure you want to add mobs or anything. Make sure it's like Breach. You press a button or you walk through the breach. It starts popping up. There's more content. We're happy, and then we can do like additional content outside of our maps, and then we can take time to think. Oh, what do I want to have there and everything. It's basic, really. It's all we're asking. So it was my 3.9 review. It's more of a rant, really. I've been struggling, like you guys can tell, I guess. And for those of you guys who have been struggling too, I made a fuck ton of tests this league. I've tested pretty much every mechanic you can imagine. So if you're trying to make your own build and you're having like issues or whatever, just add in the comment. Just ask in the comment. I can help you, or with me in game. Like, I'm not really busy right now, so just ask me in game. I can probably help you make it viable or better, because I've tested the mechanics and I might be able to save you a couple exiles on that regard. So thank you for watching. If you got any questions, just ask in the comments.